Good morning, everybody. Jeremy Brunansky here with Brunansky's Vlog, and welcome back to another brand new episode live right here on YouTube. Hope you guys had a great morning so far. Hope you had a good last week. I know that we missed last week's live episode. I kept getting this weird server error from YouTube. So thankfully they got that cleared up and we're now able to broadcast live again to talk some movie box office with you, as well as a couple other things, which we'll get into here in 1 second. Just want to make sure that everybody's aware as we go through today's episode. If you click the little arrow in the description box, it'll drop down all the articles that we'll be referencing today. So make sure that you are following along there if you want. Otherwise, continue just listening as you would normally do. I hope everybody, again, was able to get out and enjoy their weekend and see some of the films that we're about to discuss. If you did see any of the films and you have any thoughts on what we talk about as far as the box office is concerned, make sure to hit up the comment section. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like any portion of today's episode, because the thumbs up helps people who like movie-related shows find this movie-related show right here on YouTube. Also, don't forget to click the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get new content when the new content drops. Now, like I said, we've got a lot to talk about, so we're not going to waste too much time. Today, we're going to take a look at the weekend box office report. We're going to take a look at what films hit theaters. What did you guys see? I was able to get out to the theater this weekend to see Captain Marvel. I saw that twice, actually, and enjoyed both of my viewings. And if you're following us on Twitter, at Brunansky's Vlog, you kind of already know a general idea of what I thought about the film. Because as we've said and talked about before on this show, after I see the film, I'll throw a quick little tweet review up on Twitter at Brunansky's Vlog. And that way it'll give you guys an idea of kind of what to expect once the full review drops. And that full review will be dropping later this week. So again, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get the notifications. That way, once that review drops, you'll get notified and you won't miss out. All right, folks. Again, I'm Jeremy Brunansky. It's Monday morning. It's 10 a.m. PST. It's daylight savings, which means West Coast, even earlier than normal for you guys, or later, however it works, jump forward, one back, whatever it is. Hawaii, Alaska, all of that stuff. Everyone's moving their clocks around, but you know, it's still 10 a.m. PST, so we're still live right here on YouTube. So however daylight savings work, you leap forward, jump back, whatever it is. It's 10 a.m. PST. That's all that matters, and that's why we're live right now here on YouTube. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this weekend's box office breakdown. Let's take a look and check out the films that you guys saw, because like I said, I went out and I saw Captain Marvel. So on the show, we do the top 5. After this segment, we're going to take a look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. 21 films. I'm going to give you my ranking. And then right after that, before we sign off, I have been off Facebook for a year as of Monday next week. So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on life without Facebook, right? Where have I been? What have I been doing? I've been doing whatever I want because it hasn't been on Facebook. So we will take a look at what I've discovered about myself being off of Facebook for a year. So stay tuned for that as well. All right, so real quick, let's jump into the top 5. We have Alita Battle Angel coming in at number 5 at $3,200,000. Number 4 is the Lego Movie, the second part, coming in at $3,825,000. Coming in at number 3, we have Tyler Perry's A Madea Family Funeral. Coming in a much stronger lead over number 4. We're coming in at $12,050,000. So a big jump there from $3,008,000 to $12,000. And then coming in at number 2, we have How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, coming in at $14,696,000. And then way out in the front, commanding lead, Captain Marvel with $153 million. Ba-boom! Marvel Studios, Disney, everybody who worked on that has got to be happy with those numbers. Opening week, 153. The first female-led film for Marvel. I know there was a lot of talk, and there still is a lot of talk about how people would like to see a Black Widow movie, right? Because then Red Sparrow came out, and everybody was like, oh, this is not really. Red Sparrow is a good film. You should check out my review for it if you want, but it's definitely not Black Widow, even though there are some similarities. But Captain Marvel steps up to the plate. It is the first female-led film for Marvel Studios. And I know there was some blowback online with people like, it's a female-led superhero movie. Wonder Woman was a great film. Wonder Woman crushed at the box office. And let's not forget all these other films that are led by women, right? So let's just calm down with that one. That doesn't make any sense. If you're going to have an argument, at least have an argument that makes sense. Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman, both very different films. I can't even after I saw the film, the folks I was with, my parents included, we were all talking about just which film, they liked more, which film they saw pluses and minuses to. And I don't even know that you can really compare them because they're so dramatically different in tone. They're so different in story as well. You have someone who is imbued with power, right? Similar to the Hulk versus somebody who is a god, right? Like Greek mythology. So very different across the board. The only real similarities I saw is they're superhero films, one, and they're both led by women, two. But otherwise, very, very different stories, very different characters, very different films. So let's jump down before we get too far into that. Let's jump down to number 5 with Alita Battle Angel. Coming in 3 million, number 5 in its 4th week. It is domestically, it's made about 78 million. It's got a budget of 170 million. So worldwide box office has certainly been helping this film, but overall, Alita Battle Angel has not really performed that well here in the States, which is a shame because I enjoyed Alita Battle Angel. As you've heard before on this show, there's a lot of the delays and everything else that happened with the film and how the release dates kept getting pushed back. So there was some negativity leading up to the release, which was unfortunate because I think the final product was a lot of fun. If you want my full review, you can check that out on the movie review playlist. It's up there. It's waiting for you. Check it out and then maybe go see the film because I think this is a film that you should see on the big screen. It's special effects driven. It's just fun. It's just fun. You can turn your brain off. You can watch all the action, watch the half human, half robot, or more than half robot, part human monsters and assassins and everything else going after each other. It's just fun. I really enjoyed my time in the theater. I had kind of low expectations when I walked out. I was like, I'm really glad I saw this film because it's a great big screen film because of how much special effects and CGI and everything else goes into the storytelling. I enjoyed it. So make sure if you have any inclination, if you have any curiosity, that you check this one out on the big screen. That's my recommendation because, again, it was a lot of fun. Great popcorn flick. Sit down in the theater with your friends, with your girlfriend, whatever the case may be. Turn your brain off and just have a good time. Just have a good time, right? That's what I think about Alita Battle Angel. Check out my full review for more. Lego Movie 2, the second part, in its 5th week, still in the top 5, coming in number 4. It's made almost $100 million domestically. Lego Movie 2 is doing pretty well. Still want to see this, right? I still got to get out to the theaters to check this one out because, like I said, I've enjoyed the Lego Movie. I enjoyed Lego Batman. So I want to get out and see the Lego Movie 2, hopefully this week, and then I can get my review up for you guys there. But overall, I think it's doing pretty well, and I think Warner Brothers is probably pretty happy with it. It is, I believe the numbers were 3rd out of the 4, right? So you had Lego Movie, you had Lego Batman, you had Lego Movie, the second part, and then you had Lego Ninjago as the 4th out of kind of in the rankings for box office, if memory serves. So Lego Movie, the second part, I think Warner Brothers has got to be happy with this one. I think maybe they would have liked to see a little bit more performance, but I think overall it's getting people talking about it, and I think people like it. So, that's kind of what you want, right? You want people walking out of the theater happy they spent time in your movie. You want people walking out of the theater going, that was a really fun experience, or whatever the movie theme is, right? If it's a scary movie, or if it's a psychological thriller, or if it's an action movie or a drama, or, a documentary or something like that. When they walk out, you want them you want them having a good time. You want them celebrating what they just saw. And I think people were doing that with the Lego Movie, the second part. So coming in at number 3, here we have Tyler Perry's Madea Family Funeral. In its 2nd week, right now it's made about $45 million. It had a drop from week 1 to week 2 of 55%. Which isn't really that great, but it's getting closer to that 60% mark, which we've talked about before, 30 to 60%, right? Once you start getting closer to that, that's kind of bad news bears. Let's take a look at the Rotten Tomatoes. So Rotten Tomatoes really not enjoying this film. 13% rotten from the critics, 26% rotten from the fans. So critics went out, they saw the film, they go, not really my thing. The fans went out to see this film and they went, not really my thing. And, we got a 55% drop coming in right now from week 1 to week 2. So not really a strong showing for Tyler Perry's Madea Family Funeral. Not sure what is different about this film that kind of caused the audience and the demographic that kind of suits this film and Tyler Perry's kind of library of films that he's done. I'm not really sure what happened in this story that made everybody who's familiar with his work and who enjoys his work go, meh, not really my thing this time around, right? So curious to hear your thoughts on Tyler Perry's A Madea Family Funeral. If you have thoughts, if you've seen the film, if you like Tyler Perry's work, go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments section below and let me know maybe what was it about this film that when you saw it, you walked out of the theater and went, maybe this or maybe that could have changed things and kind of boosted it up to the level of enjoyment you typically find with his films, right? Next up, How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. I really enjoyed my time in the theater with this one. It's 3 weeks in now, and it has made approximately 120 million, give or take, on a budget of around 129 million domestically. So How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, doing really well for an animated film. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. You can check out my full review. It's definitely got some mature themes. It is an animated film, like I said, but it's got some mature themes, as I'll discuss in my review. And the animation looks good. The dragons look good. The coloring in it is really good. It's really vibrant at times. And then the kind of more solemn and darker tones, they do a really nice job with those as well for the animation. So I really enjoyed How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. I was surprised, again, at the mature theme that runs throughout the film because the trailers kind of hint at it. The trailers hint that this is going to be about two dragons finding each other and falling in love, right? A dragon love story, if you will. So it's two dragons finding each other and falling in love, but then there's so much more to it outside of that. That's just kind of one of the main themes. That is part of the main theme that's more mature, right? Falling in love. And then kind of moving on forward in life, you know, getting married, having kids, all that stuff. Like pretty mature stuff. But it's not just with the dragons that that's happening to. And as you'll hear in my review, I dig into it a little bit deeper. But really good story, a lot of fun. I laughed more than I thought I would. I like the characters in it. And I thought they did a pretty good job overall. And again, the animation looks really good. So if you haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, and you are curious or you have an inclination to go check out animated films, definitely recommending you guys go check that one out. Take the whole family or go by yourself, whatever it is. Just get out to the theater and see this one because it's worth it on the big screen for sure. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel. I saw it twice. Both times I enjoyed myself. The things that I liked the first time I saw it, I continued to like the second time. The things I was meh about, I continued to be meh about in my second viewing. When I walked out of the theater, I was like, that was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought Brie Larson absolutely slayed in this film. I really enjoyed her portrayal of the character. It feels like she took that character on and really made it her own in the exact same way that Chris Evans has done Captain America, Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man, Chris Pratt for Star-Lord. You go on to the other side of the field, right? And we can go ahead and say that Margot Robbie for Harley Quinn, how she's made that character her own. And Gal Gadot for Wonder Woman, right? She made Wonder Woman her own. And I think Brie Larson steps up to the plate and she really owns this character and she really made this character her own. She has a smirk throughout the film that just won me over. It's just this nice little touch of attitude that I was just all in. Put all my chips in. I was like, this is great. Loved her portrayal of Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. Now, there was a few things here and there where I was just like, meh, you know, we have to go for the joke so often? Did we have to go for the joke? And I've had this complaint before with other Marvel films, especially with Thor Ragnarok, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Do we have to go for the joke every single time? Can we let the moment build and kind of move on its own versus like injecting a joke to kind of break up the seriousness of the moment? Like, it's okay to be serious. It's okay to be funny. It's okay to kind of mix both of those. But when the moment in the scene is happening and it's kind of building towards a dramatic, like a dramatic point, and then all of a sudden there's like a weird joke, it's kind of jarring. And I felt like that was one of the issues I had in this film, especially when she's in Louisiana at her friend's house and they're kind of having conversations. Like, it felt like we're really moving towards something dramatic. And then all of a sudden there's like a joke here and there. And I'm like, did we have to go for that joke? I don't think we did. I think we could have let the moment build. But overall, I enjoyed it. There's some characters in it where I was just like, I don't really know what function these characters are serving outside of being like, again, a joke. Like, because they'd pan back to the character and the character would just do something that was humorous. And you're just like, I don't know what point this character is serving other than a punchline, right? A joke without a punchline kind of character. But overall, the story works. It's very much an origin tale. It's letting us know who she is. It's letting us know how she got her powers. It's letting us know who the good guys are. It's letting us know who the bad guys are. And then it flips it and reverses it so that by the time you walk out of the theater, you can have a legitimate conversation. Who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? And then kind of Captain Marvel's right in the middle of both of them. So there's a really nice opportunity for conversation and kind of dissection once you walk out of the theater with this film. Because again, good guys at the start, bad guys at the start, and then right towards the end of the second act, everything kind of flips. And you're just like, whoa, now what are we doing? And by the end of the film, you got to go, okay, well, really, who are the good guys and who are the bad guys? Which side or which point of view or which idea do you identify with more on these characters? You can have a whole conversation when you walk out of the theater. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it and how it, once you leave the theater, it gave you something to talk about more than just Brie Larson killed it as Captain Marvel. It gave you something to talk about as far as the movie was concerned. So definitely recommending you check out Captain Marvel on the big screen. Spoiler alert, that's going to be my recommendation on the review dropping later this week. Check it out. All right, so real quick, let's just round out the top 10. We have Apollo 11 coming in at number 10. At number 9, we have Greta. 8, we have Fighting With My Family. 7, Isn't It Romantic? And number 6, still in the top 10, 17 weeks into it being in theaters, we have Green Book. And wow, Green Book is just killing it. A big, big boost for it as far as the Oscars were concerned. Getting the Academy Award definitely put it back on people's radar that maybe hadn't heard of it yet. And I know that's hard to believe, right? Because if you're watching the show, clearly you have some interest in film. So when it's been out for so many weeks, 17 weeks, and you think that the Oscars were 2 weeks ago, so 15 weeks it's been in theaters, and then the Oscars comes out, it wins the Oscar, and then people are like, oh, I haven't really heard of that, or I have heard of it but didn't know I should see it. Now they're getting back out and they're seeing it, and that's exactly what happened. Keeping it in the top 10, 17 weeks into its theater run, Green Book is crushing, and I really enjoyed Green Book. So out of these films, you can check out my reviews for Isn't It Romantic, Green Book, Alita, Battle Angel, and How to Train Your Dragon in the Hidden World. Those are up right now on the movie review playlist. And you can also, if you click subscribe and hit the bell, you'll get notified once the Captain Marvel review drops. Let's check out Rotten Tomatoes and see where we're at as far as that's concerned. So we have an 80% fresh from the critics. Captain Marvel crushed with the critics. 58% rotten audience score. Not too sure what happened there. Now, I'll say, as you'll hear in a minute when we take it, when I give you my breakdown of the MCU, right? So from 2008 going all the way to, today with Captain Marvel, I'm going to give you my ranking of all 21 films. And you'll see where Captain Marvel falls in that ranking. But I can see how some people were like, this film is okay. It's fun. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But I can see how some people were like, this is great. I can see how some people were like, no, it's not for me. Like, there's a lot in this film that can, like I said, when you leave the theater, the film gives you plenty of things to discuss. So I can see how some people would be like, yes. And I can see how some people would be like, right? So with this film, I am more inclined to say I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film. I thought it was a good time. But I can definitely see the pros and cons. But to score it a 58% rotten, that is kind of surprising to me. And that is an audience score out of 54,994 ratings. So just shy of 55,000 ratings and 58% rotten. Not quite sure what is going on. Not quite sure where the disconnect is between me and the audience, because I definitely wouldn't score this film rotten. I would be, in the rare and odd occasion that we're in right now, I'm siding with the critics with an 80% certified fresh, but not really sure what happened with the tomato meter for the audience score. Almost 55,000 ratings, and it is scoring rotten. So I don't know. Definitely go check this film out for yourself. Make up your own mind. Make up your own opinion on the film. My recommendation is see this film on the big screen. I saw it twice in IMAX. I enjoyed both of my viewings. So Oh, and spoiler alert, there's 2 post-credit scenes. So do not leave right away. Stay till the very, very, very end because there's 2 post-credit scenes. All right, let's go ahead and jump now into the rankings for the MCU. So we're going to go ahead and just pull up another real quick slide here, and boom, there you go. All right. Now we're going to take a look here at this one. Now, as you can see, it's numbered down below. I'm going to move the mic over here so hopefully it doesn't jostle and jar everybody with thumps and thuds. But here you go. We have got 21 films in the MCU so far right now. And this is kind of where I would stack rank everybody. Now, a while back, you saw that I gave my rankings, and that was before Black Panther came out. That was before Avengers Infinity War. That was clearly before Captain Marvel. So there were some films that had yet to come out that didn't make that previous list. So this is the full 21 film, 21 slates, 21 titles, whatever you want to call it, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So as you can see here, Thor: The Dark World coming in dead last at 21. Still, there's no change from the last time I did this. Thor: The Dark World, this film to me just was not good. I don't really see anything redeeming in the story or anything else. The villains don't make sense. Everything's kind of rushed. There's just a lot of crazy humor in it that just didn't land for how intense the film is supposed to be. Yeah, Thor: The Dark World, just as far as I'm concerned, that's just the big swing and a miss as far as everything in the MCU goes. Now, I know there's people out there that are like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe really hasn't had a failure box office wise, but I'm going to go ahead and say, as far as like storytelling and everything else, if there was a fail, the weakest link in this chain is definitely Thor: The Dark World for me. Next up, Iron Man 3. I know some people, they really liked Iron Man 3. I would not be in that camp. I was looking forward to the Mandarin, the big spin, the big twist, the big reveal towards the end. Without it being the Mandarin and everything else, I was just like, what is going, like, all of my hopes dashed, left the sour taste in my mouth, walked out of the theater pretty disappointed with Iron Man 3. It was definitely a head scratcher for me. I was like, what did I just watch? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, same thing. The ending of the film really just kind of threw it for me. If you're on a planet, why does the planet need an avatar? I did not understand that at all. It was really confusing. I get the joke and I get the humor and the comedy of it, but overall I was like, I'm not quite sure what's happening here. And the end of the film really kind of threw me. Avengers Age of Ultron, out of all the Avengers films, I think this one is the weakest. James Spader did a great job as Ultron, and some of the stuff does land, but it is very much a rehash of the first Avengers film. You got one bad guy with lots and lots and lots of bodies that just kind of, or robots in this case instead of aliens, that are just invading everything. And then once you stop the one big bad, kaboom, everything's done. And that's kind of what happened in Avengers. So big rehash of the first film with a new villain, just kind of fell flat for me, but still enjoyable. Iron Man 2 coming in next. Now, I enjoyed Iron Man 2. I know it did get a little bit of heat, but I thought Iron Man was pretty good. I like Sam Rockwell's character in it as well. So Iron Man 2 coming in right now at number 17. Right after that is Captain America, the First Avenger, coming in at number 16. Out of the origin stories, I think this one is probably the weakest out of all of the origin stories. They did a lot of cool technology stuff as far as kind of, the smaller body for Chris Evans. And then when he turns into Captain America, he's like normal, bulked up and weightlifting Chris Evans for Captain America, versus like the skinny one before he goes through the transformation. So they had a lot of cool like technology they were doing to like put his face on a different body. So I get it. I liked how that worked. I like kind of how it set things up for the Avengers. But overall, as far as origin stories and as far as like the initial offering for that character, I think Captain America, the First Avenger, was probably the weakest. Next up, the Hulk. And this is with Ed Norton. I really like the Hulk as far as a Hulk movie goes in consideration to what else has been out for Hulk movies. I think this one is definitely the best Hulk movie out of all the Hulk movies that are out. But again, overall as a film, it doesn't quite reach the level to hit top 10. Right after that, we have Captain Marvel. Now, Captain Marvel, as you just heard, I saw it twice. I enjoyed both times, but the story is really choppy at the beginning. It takes a while to really start flowing as far as the story is concerned. So stay tuned for my full review. That'll drop later this week, but I enjoyed it. It didn't come in dead last, but it definitely didn't hit the top 10. It's coming in at number 14. Coming in at number 13, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp, again, another fun film. And this one, just like Thor Ragnarok, takes these characters and kind of puts a twist on it where it elevates these films from what they were to something a little bit more lighthearted and a little bit more fun. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I enjoyed. I just recently watched it again because it was on Netflix. So I recently just watched it again just to revisit it. Still a lot of fun. They do a lot of the nice tropes that they had from the first one. They continue with this one just to kind of keep the characters feeling like the characters in a new situation with new problems, etc. And I enjoyed it, but didn't enjoy it enough to make the top 10. Thor Ragnarok. Really enjoyed Thor Ragnarok. I liked the wild, crazy music in it that was super 80s and synth. I liked the villains in it. I liked how they introduced Planet Hulk. I liked Grandmaster with Jeff Goldblum. There was a lot in it I liked, but again, as you heard earlier when we were taking a look at the box office, sometimes they just went for the joke way too many times. One scene in particular is when Thor is talking and he throws that ball, and he's like, because that's what heroes do, and then the ball knocks him in the head. It's like, did we have to go for that joke? Could we not just let the moment land? Like, there's just moments like that where I thought, like, one too many jokes, one too many times, stealing away from some of the value and the importance of the character. So I enjoyed it, but didn't enjoy it enough to make the top 10. Thor Ragnarok, number 12. Coming to number 11, we have Black Panther. I enjoyed Black Panther, but I still stand by the fact that Michael B. Jordan was in a completely different movie than everybody else. I liked, if you read my article about the Oscars, I said that the lady who did all the costumes was going to win. She did. So there's definitely a lot of positives in Black Panther. The guy who did the score won the Oscar for that one as well. There's a lot of good stuff in Black Panther. It's a good story. It's a good origin, kind of introducing us not just to characters, but also the world, their country, everything else, their technology. But again, there's just this weird split between what's happening in the film and then Michael B. Jordan, and it just really threw me off. I was like, I don't know what movie this guy is in, but he's definitely not in the same movie as everybody else. So coming in at number 11. Coming in number 10, Spider-Man Homecoming. Really enjoyed this one for a Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland is doing a really good job. Previous versions, I either liked their version of Peter Parker or I liked their version of Spider-Man. Tom Holland seems to be doing a good job mixing them both. And I kind of like the humor that's going on in here. I like seeing Jon Favreau pop in from time to time. Robert Downey Jr. being added was a nice twist as well. Michael Keaton does a great job as the villain as well because we understand the stakes of what's going on. I thought the story worked, and that's why it's at number 10. Number 9, we got Ant-Man. Paul Rudd stepping in. Multiple Ant-Men in this film really surprised me. Really liked the story, really liked the humor. The whole concept of the heist and everything else, definitely a fun twist on the universe and definitely a new element that we hadn't seen before. So Ant-Man coming in at number 9. Civil War, really enjoyed this one, but this one, I mean, it's really a buildup from all the other films, right? So you can watch it on your own, but you might be lost if you aren't familiar with the characters. If you've seen most of the films, it's still going to work for you, but this film doesn't really stand on its own. So for that reason, it's not going to make the top 5. Guardians of the Galaxy. This one really surprised me. Not really knowing much about these characters going into the movie. When I walked out, I was like, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed the story and the humor and how kind of it takes everybody a while to gel with each other. And then boom, it just works. I thought it all played out really well. So Guardians of the Galaxy coming in at number 7. Number 6, Avengers Infinity War. This is the story of a villain and the villain's point of view, and it works as a standalone film, more so than I think Civil War. Now, you don't necessarily need to know all of the characters and everything like that in the film with their backstories and why it all builds to a civil war. I don't really think you need to for this case because Avengers Infinity War is about Thanos, and we go on the journey with Thanos, and we have to see how all these different heroes are trying to stop him. And I think it works as far as a standalone film better than Civil War. Coming in the top 5, here we go, folks. The first Avengers film. Again, this is a build-up to all the other films, but honestly, you don't really need to watch all the other films to understand what's going on in Avengers. I think as a standalone film, this works on its own. You could put this on and watch this film by itself, not having seen the whole first run of films leading up to it. And I think you're going to be fine understanding who Tony Stark is, who Iron Man is, right? Who Thor is, what does the Hulk do, who's Hawkeye. Like, I think all of this stuff is pretty self-explanatory in Avengers. I think it stands on its own 2 feet pretty well. Number 5. Coming in number 4, we got Iron Man, the first film in the MCU, the one that started it all. Robert Downey Jr. steps up to the plate, knocks it out of the park, home run, grand slam. He got 2 runs in. He got 3 runs in. It doesn't matter how many runs. He got all the runs when he performed his role as Tony Stark, Iron Man. This film did a great job of establishing the universe. This film really surprised folks. I know I was surprised. And after Iron Man, I was like, I'm ready for more Iron Man movies. I'm ready for more everything with Marvel, because they did a great job with Iron Man as an origin story, as well as a brand new character we've never seen before on the big screen. Number 3, Doctor Strange. Out of the Marvel characters, Doctor Strange is my favorite in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Really enjoyed this origin tale. Really enjoyed Benedict Cumberbatch's performance of a guy who loses his ability to be himself and has a full existential crisis, and then finds a way to rebuild himself and come back even stronger and more powerful than he could have ever imagined. So Doctor Strange, really good flick. Really enjoyed the magic and how they made the magic work in this film. So coming in the top 3 is Doctor Strange. Coming in number 2 is Thor. Now, people who are familiar with my movie reviews, both writing as far as the blog goes, and then everything else that I've been doing here on YouTube, know that Thor is and has been one of my favorite films. I think this film really did a great job of establishing characters in a crazy world that we have never seen before. I liked how everybody was balanced out with each other as far as brother versus brother, father trying to help the brothers, what's going on with the mom, Heimdall, everything else, the love story. It just worked. Thor, great film. The only issue I really had with Thor was some of the fight scenes seemed a little lackluster between Thor and Loki, but other than that, really liked Thor. Next up, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Now, if you are faithful watchers or faithful readers of my review, you know Captain America, Winter Soldier has been my number 1 MCU film since it came out in theaters. I really like this story. I like the characters. I like the progression of the progression of all of the characters in it, and kind of where the tension and where the friction and where the conflict comes in. The character development, the fight scene in the elevator, you can still, just that one shot of Captain America standing over all of the people knocked out on the elevator. Great scene. There's so much great combat and great action and great spy stuff in this film. Loved it. Captain America, the Winter Soldier, coming in at number 1. So there you go, folks. That is the top 21, all 21 for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you've got a different order, go ahead and leave your comments below. All right, let's move the mic here and get back over in front of the camera, and we will finish this week's episode off. So here we go. All right, so before I sign off, 1 year without Facebook. It seems crazy, it seems weird, but in today's social media age, it just wasn't working, right? It wasn't working for what I was trying to do with this channel. So a year ago, as of this coming Monday, I hit the subscriber count I needed to move all of the movie stuff to YouTube. So just YouTube. Excuse me. Excuse me. I've been talking for a while, starting to lose my voice. So we moved everything, right? Because it was originally when we first started, which has been closing in on 2 years. We would do the pre-recorded show, and then we would do the live show on Facebook. And that's where I learned how to do live streaming, was through Facebook Live. Then once we hit the subscriber count we needed to activate the live streaming here on YouTube, we did. And that was a year ago as of this Monday coming up. So it's interesting because Facebook has been getting a lot of, press and stuff like that about privacy leaks and everything else. But as far as just your personal use goes, when I first signed off, it was crazy because I was like, what are people doing? I hope everybody's okay. Right? Because you have that connection with people without even realizing you have that connection with people, because their life is right there in front of you on your timeline, right? People share what they want to share. People reserve to share what they don't want, like we're not going to talk about this today. We're just going to talk about what this thing of my day was, right? That's Facebook. You share what you want to share. You keep private what you keep private. And that's the deal. So you have this strange connection with people because even though you're not connected with them, they're still sharing their life with you and it's there. So when you lose that, when you kind of back out of the world of Facebook, it can be a little jarring, right? So it was a little stressful at first because I'm the type of guy that likes to help people. So it was like, is everybody okay? What's going on? I hope everyone's fine, right? And then over time, I realized people are fine, right? And it was this crazy, weird, lift off my shoulders, right? I was like, we're all adults. Everybody's fine, right? And it was a very interesting revelation for me that I didn't know I could get from social media. So if you ever have the opportunity, we have got Lent, right? Lent is going on, and you got the whole thing with Catholics giving up stuff for Lent. And there's other religions that give us stuff, you know, for their religious holidays and stuff. But if you ever have the opportunity, I'm definitely going to recommend you kind of take a break from social media and just see what the effect is on you. Because for me personally, when I first stopped and I just moved everything to YouTube, it was like, I hope everybody's okay. I don't know what's going on in people's lives, but I hope they're okay, right? And then over time, I was like, I haven't heard from everybody. I haven't heard from anybody. Things have got to be fine, right? People have got to be fine. And then, you know, the next phase was everybody's fine. Everybody's fine, Jeremy. Everyone's an adult. Everybody's fine. And it was just like this weird, like, burden lifted off my shoulders going, I don't need to worry about folks. Folks are cool. And so that was a big revelation to me. That was a big development that I didn't know I could get from social media. So I would encourage you, if you ever find yourself going, I wonder what if, maybe act on it. Maybe act on it and just kind of take that break from social media, whatever platform you use, and just kind of see what the effects are on you. Like, do you see having less stress, more stress? Do you feel kind of unburdened by things? Because now you can focus on what's important, because what's important is right in front of you, right? So check it out. Try it out. I don't know. For me, it worked. It took a year. Well, not the full year before I had that realization, but it almost took the full year before I was just like, people are cool. We're all adults. Everybody's handling their business. Life is groovy. So give it a shot. If you ever find yourself wondering, I recommend it. Like I said, I'm a year without Facebook as of this coming Monday. So it's been a wild ride. You really don't understand how much social media impacts your life until you completely remove yourself from it. It's a wild ride, people. It's a wild ride, but I definitely recommend that you take the ride if you think you can do it. So go ahead and check it out. Back away from your platforms for a little bit if you ever get the curiosity in you, and see what happens. I had a pretty good psychological response to the whole thing, but it did take some time for those realizations to kick in. So there's my recommendation for you guys. A year without Facebook. It took me a year to realize people are going to be all right. We're all adults. People are fine. So there you go. All right, folks, I'm Jeremy Brunansky. I'm going to get out of here. We are closing in on a year coming this Monday of just YouTube Live, and we're going to have to take a look at some things. So next week is going to be possibly the last live stream for a while, as I kind of regroup and try and figure things out as far as what the next phase of things are going to be. So we did over a year. We're closing in on 2 years of talking movies on YouTube. We're closing in on exactly a year of just YouTube talking movies. No Facebook Live, just YouTube. So where has the traction been? It really hasn't been there, like we've talked about before on this channel. So next week, that could be the last live episode for a while. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that one. Check it out. If, you know, for whatever reason, there's going to be any delays or anything like that, make sure you're following us on Twitter at Brunansky's Vlog, because that's where I do all the updates. That's how you knew last week's show wasn't going to work, because I was giving you updates about every 10 to 15 minutes, letting you know the problem that we were experiencing was still persisting. Super annoying last week, but it looks like from the looks of things, they got it figured out. So there you go. A year without Facebook. The Marvel Cinematic Universe ranked from 21 to 1. The weekend box office report and my initial thoughts on Captain America. That is, or Captain Marvel. That is this week's show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. We'll see you guys next time. Daylight savings, right? Fix those clocks. It's 10 a.m. Well, now it's almost 10:40. So anyways, have a great week, guys. Really enjoyed talking movies with you. Get out to the theaters and see some of these films that we talked about. And if you did see them, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. I'm Jeremy Brunansky. Had a great time talking with you guys here on Brunansky's Vlog. Hope you enjoyed it as well. If you did, again, give me that thumbs up, because the thumbs up helps people who like movie-related shows find this movie-related show right here on YouTube. Don't forget to click the subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when new content drops, like the Captain Marvel trailer. And until next time, and as always, folks, I'm Jeremy Brunansky. Good night and good luck.